Hello and welcome to the first ever broadcast and stream of Weekly Mojo with your host Madison Jesseka here live on the Playhouse. Like and subscribe for more. We have no idea what we're doing, but we hope you'll keep coming back for more.
We'll figure it out as we go.
Absolutely. We're definitely both looking at the computer instead of the camera up here, so forgive us as we I mean, I wonder if I could just do this.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, well, all right, well.
Cool. Here we go.
Nice. If you guys comment or like in, we'll try. I'll look like I'm staring down at my crotch or something, so don't judge me.
I can't, I kind of look like I'm doing the same thing for you, so I don't know what let's move on from here.
Yeah, it's too much. Okay, so in classic Playhouse fashion, we're kind of lazy in terms of planning the show, but also thoughtful, and just leveraging tools to make it easier. So here's our info dump of a thought. Yeah, maybe I should share my screen so that you guys can appreciate what it is that we're looking at here.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, challenging, right?
Working through the kinks.
Right. Okay. Infinity screen in 3, 2, 1. There we go. I like this layout better. Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe I think I can do this. It's so fun. You guys are gonna watch me edit this live and then move that up. There's a good spot to put it.
How do you not cover the most?
Right, and then we go here, and I guess we shrink us down a little bit. All right, cool. This is how we do it. We just call this Mojo Weekly. All right, save the layout. When we turn off this, it goes back to whatever, but then we add it to the stage and we're good to go. So infinity screen off. You guys can all see Gemini, I'm assuming. We want to go to ChatGPT first. This is the type of lazy we are. Leveraging AI. Okay. So we're planning on the show being 23 minutes long. We are 2 minutes and 51 seconds in. So we start at 6:23. This ends at 6:46. That means.
Sounds like a plan, Stan.
Yeah, we're not going to be on point with this, but it's okay. Stay in the format, and we might go long today, but we promise we'll try to adhere to it going forward. Explain the concept, right? Yeah, we'll play it by ear. Anyways, like I said, I'm Dr. Business. I'm really Connor, but that's what I call myself on these things, I guess. When I write, I'm El Prof. Clearly, I've got problems. So
we've got a lot of personalities that come through. It just kind of depends on the day. It depends on the minute.
Yeah, just having fun with it, right? So we want to talk about all of our interests, which are all over the place. So you can pretty much imagine we're going to talk about anything here, but my personal interests are AI and Web3 and politics and trending news and taking a really weird take and angle and stance with everything that pisses most people off. So
just always taking the opposite stance of whatever somebody else is wholeheartedly believing. So
yeah, it's great to explore the weaknesses.
For a lot of people.
I love to explore the weaknesses and perspectives. I don't really hold any of mine too closely. So
we're all just looking to expand and explore our own personal growth. So I feel like those conversations are some of the best suited for it.
Yeah, my better half over here tempers my worst instances of doing this. So anyways, we'll talk about things relevant to healthcare because I've always been, adjacently interested in it.
But that is what I find the most of my joy in is healthcare and nerding out with most of my cardiology.
I'm hoping you can guys, well, I guess you can't see the other two pieces right here, but there is a fair amount of anatomy, physiology that bleeds through in the artwork here.
For sure.
So, right. Yeah. So we want this to be fun and entertaining because we
find ourselves entertaining. We can't say that everybody else feels the same way, but laugh with yourself first, right?
Yeah. I think the energy we bring to it is what makes it not boring. If I'm gonna,
For sure.
It's all about tones and enunciation and being engaging and fun and not boring to listen to, right? And I feel like, you know, you always say how annoying it is sometimes when I'm being a dick, but the tonality, I think, is what makes it interesting to listen to at times. So
tone definitely makes a difference on whether I'm going to be engaging in that or not. That's for sure.
I think that's a fair point, you know. Don't need to open up that can of worms just yet.
Yeah, I mean,
it could be a topic.
early and we're only like 5 minutes in.
Right? Yeah, well.
What are we talking about today?
Well, so I was going to finish. This is what they gave us, right? We've got
right.
a weekly format. Opening, segment 1, personal relationships and partnerships, 3 minutes. Segment 2, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes. There's not enough time to talk about anything. Clearly, we're already well past 3 minutes at just the intro. So I was like, knowing this in advance, hey, this is not going to work for us. Condense it down just to 3 or 4 segments, make certain areas rotating flexible, you know, and then put in best practice for YouTube. So it gave us a much better format here, right? And I was like, great, okay, that's closer to what we want. I took it into Gemini, gave it to Gemini, which we can look at what it is if you want.
Yeah, I was like, what's the difference between ChatGPT and Gemini? Do I have to pay for either?
So yeah, I think you have to pay for both in some capacity, and it's free in others. I have a Google business account for Playhaus, so you know it comes free with my $15 a month subscription per account per employee at Playhaus. So fun, so great. And then ChatGPT is like $20 to $25 a month. It's more expensive if you're a business because collaboration is extortionary. Anyways,
in today's data silos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, that's not even a data silo problem, but it kind of is, you know. But like, it's just it's their software. They can charge whatever they want, and so they know businesses are willing to pay more because of whatever. Anyways,
wasn't it free when they first launched?
I think I'm using the free version because you can see I'm not renewing Plus.
Okay.
Because we had, you know, liquidity issues, classic. And
as everyone does in today's scape, am I right?
You're right. So
even our banking system, lordy.
Exactly. Right? Anyway. No, we don't need to talk about that house of cards. So I just basically told Gemini, pretend that you're an expert producer and critique this and make it better. But ultimately, it does add some great ideas, but it doesn't really change what we're doing. So we can use what ChatGPT said because it sounds like it nailed it. Basically, I introduce you, lay out the topics for the show tonight. And so the topics for the show tonight, well, I guess we can go through it. Each week we will choose something that is out of personal relationships and partnerships, business and entrepreneurship, AI and Web3, medtech and healthcare. And we'll just like talk about whatever we want. Then we'll have an arts and entertainment / social issues segment. And then we'll end with Madison showcasing a piece of art or critiquing a piece of art, you know, and us just having fun talking about it.
For sure.
Yep. And then we have some other advice of how to do this better. But that's going to be the gist of our show. And as a result of that, do you want to introduce our news topic for today?
Sure. Okay, so we're in the week of July 11th, just had 4th of July. I just got an IUD removed after about 7 years of having it in, and have been free flowing since for the last 2 months. Coming into that topic and introducing our next, it's basically the female healthcare industry just feels like a giant ploy for more money is how I get to that conversation. Specifically, tampons and Tampax are leading competitors or providers of not only just inefficient product because it's not even tested on blood, it is only tested for water, but also it can give you PCOS and infertility issues and a bunch of other horrible things that are going on as it's sitting inside of your cavity and your body's just like, golly, should I continue?
Probably.
I can't even.
We haven't even talked about what the real problem is.
No,
yet. You should talk about the
know.
trending news problem that made you think of this whole rant against, you know, the women's health products industry, the feminine hygiene industry.
I basically
It's not
now
really,
introduced
pro
back
women,
into
it's
it.
pro profit, as you
Right.
wanted to get your point across.
I was introduced back into it after having to go into free flowing and not be a robot with my IUD anymore. But I just was experiencing some of the worst cramping I've ever had of my entire life for a good 3 or 4 days. And I just noticed it getting worse as I had
is that a part of normal whatever periods, or is that
that's how they
the
want
tampons?
you to feel, honestly, because for historically speaking, I've only ever used tampons, so I've only had horrible cramps, and I only know women that have only ever had horrible cramps forever and ever and always. A lot of us don't use pads. I don't know if that's women that are experiencing that are having that same level of cramping that we are. But I get back to, it's kind of like correlation, right? If you have something in your body that's physically toxic to it,
yeah, maybe let's share the news that you're talking about, because you still haven't shared the news. That is the whole basis for this conversation.
Do we want to go into, ChatGPT, which is the new Google, or are we going into Google? Okay, that works.
Well, we're not sharing yet, but you keep sharing.
So recently it has come out that tampons not only have horrible chemicals in it that make you infertile, women infertile, can increase your chances of having ovarian cysts, a bunch of really horrible things that we all have, endometriosis, a bunch of things that we're dealing with without talking about as a society until recently. And now, in better news, we have not only horrible chemicals in those tampons that don't actually work, but there's now found lead and arsenic in these fucking tampons. So we're poisoning ourselves in so many different levels.
An estimated 52 to 86% of Americans who identify as women use tampons. It says menstruate, but I know that there's other people who don't do that, who use them for some reason. And they're probably poisoning themselves too. So I'm going to just call that out for what it's worth.
Yep. Yeah, we'll go with that. Anyway, that makes sense. I basically recently switched to a Diva cup. Wouldn't ever fucking switch back. Oh my God. Other than the fact that you're kind of basically fisting yourself, and the suction cup is kind of hard to not get it into the... Anyway. You work out the kinks only for the fact that your body is so much more thankful on the other end of that. I am not cramping nearly as much, which kind of leads me back to the first thing of, we're literally actively being poisoned, and the healthcare system gives no fucks about us.
Yeah.
In so many ways.
So, that is the extent of that, but here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here, I love doing things like this.
I was like, what does Gemini say about the situation?
Obviously, you're not...
What's the woke-ass agenda from...
not a doctor. But what are the potential complications of having trace amounts of lead and arsenic inside of soft tissues, or resting alongside soft tissues inside a crevice in the body. Don't judge me. I don't know how to spell. I grew up in an area with autocorrect. I know what word I want. I know that I can
it's really rough when AI or Google doesn't know what you're trying to autocorrect to. This is not the situation for you, but that happens to me a lot. Go fuck yourself.
All right.
You're not saying that you're a doctor.
This is when you say, all right, Google, thank you for nothing.
Gemini is Google.
I will see a doctor if and when I want to. This is a hypothetical exploration of the idea. Okay. Sometimes you have to treat ChatGPT like an inferior employee. But
neurological damage. renal dysfunction, cardiovascular issues,
No wonder they say women are crazy.
reproductive rights, bone and joint problems. That's just from lead. Sorry, that's probably so loud. Oh my god, that's so nuts. That's just from lead complications. Oh no, shitskis, huh?
Oh, that doesn't. So that didn't mean what I thought it meant. I thought that meant you went crazy, not that you went blind. See? What does this one mean? Let's look. Oh, okay. So it affects your brain. It melts it.
Yeah, basically, like.
Oh, I love ice cream brain.
Yep.
Okay, there.
Renal dysfunction. That makes a lot of
heart
sense.
issues.
So that's kidneys
issues.
basically failing. Yeah. That's horrible. Arsenic complications.
Oh, you like cancer, right?
Carcinogenic.
You know, when they say ovarian cancer, I wonder where that comes from.
Holy fucking shit, though, because think about that. The women that are dying of ovarian or having ovarian cancer, like, look up. No.
Wait. I want to ask you something.
What do you think likely? No. I mean, sure, you can ask it, but like, honestly, that is a huge probability. When did tampons come out?
Found in
an ovarian cancer.
Tampons. And a rise in ovarian.
Specifically in younger women. Holy fuck, Connor.
Younger women.
Will you Google when tampons started? Because I know 2002 was when like Tampax was last like created. One of them. I don't know about them all.
When were tampons invented? When were they commercialized?
Yeah, I'm like
1933 Tampax.
1933. Okay, so how many times have they changed their
widely adopted by the mainstream public?
And how many iterations has that tampon seen?
60s and 70s. Has the formula for the product changed substantially over time?
Particularly in the materials. Bleaching.
Can you put years on some of these? Or on these events? For the modern improvements to tampons by Tampax. Is it them?
Yeah.
Specifically.
2002.
From
and 2022.
The 60s onward, what are the dates of the most significant changes?
Okay, so basically it's just saying the 1960s and 70s until now is when a lot of this is shifted. So I could imagine that ovarian cancer is probably seen a rise.
So the 80s was the year. Was the last major change to it as far. What? So they had an issue.
Shit.
So they had an issue before. They were before they started giving people arsenic problems. They were giving people toxic shock syndrome.
We're still told about toxic shock syndrome, like to date. I don't think anything has changed from it. To be fair, I think.
So he said, Rates
of ovarian
cancer
from like 1950.
from
From 1920. Before it's basically used, and then before it's widely adopted.
Oh, here we go. Well, I think that's 1980 right there that it spikes in. For what it's worth.
It doesn't have anything earlier.
It doesn't have anything more recent. Let's see if we can find a better article. Seems to be what the last year they stopped reporting on it. Jesus. We'll go here. $1992. Tell me you're manipulating this facts.
No, seriously.
All right. ChatGPT. Great. Oh wait, I asked it a question, right?
Yeah.
It's simping for the man already. I can tell you the presence of arsenic in tampons and its potential link to an increasing ovarian cancer in younger women is a complex and sensitive issue. Well, there's no definitive evidence directly connecting arsenic in tampon to ovarian cancer. Understanding the broader context and the potential risks is important. Carcinogenic properties, mechanism of action.
Oh, okay. So, mechanism of action. That's a great topic. Arsenic can cause DNA damage, disrupt cellular processes, and can lead to mutation.
Arsenic is a known carcinogen, and chronic exposure has been linked to various cancers, including skin, lung, bladder, and liver. However, the direct link to ovarian cancer is less clear. If it smells like a fucking duck and it quacks like a fucking duck.
They're like, but how are they getting arsenic? Right. It doesn't make sense. How is arsenic getting to the ovaries?
Mm-hmm.
Except for the fact that it's in our tampons. Apparently.
Oh, okay. So tampons, like other feminine hygiene products, are regulated to ensure, because we all know regulations work, because we do enforcements of fines on regulations, and that's just the cost of doing business.
Right, because there's no issues with talcum powder or any other large cancer-related issues, Roundup,
You're not supposed to name the products that cause the problems. You're supposed to name the problems that caused and allude to the products. That's how you don't get sued in this business, just so we know.
Oh, well, those were both known, but I hear you. Do your own research.
So, basically, they're just saying big government's going to protect you from this right here. As long
as you have enough money.
It's already going on, but big government's going to protect you. It's already happening to you, but you'll maybe get maybe $100 in 20 years in a class action lawsuit.
Yeah, that's after your family has mostly died from it, your relatives may or may not, because you might not even have relatives on the back end of it, to be fair. Yeah. Most of us are losing our fertility as a result of this. Mm-hmm. So wild. No wonder women's mortality rate is literally something like 40%.
Mm-hmm. Also, none of this is fact. This is all pure conspiracy theory, but you can look into it yourself if you don't believe us.
It's wild how many of those little statements are all true. So,
and also not at the same time. This is just our wild imaginations. So
connect your own dots. Do your own red string theory.
Yeah. Well, you don't sound red-pilled at all.
Speaking of, there's a fashion brand that has tinfoil hats, but it's meant to protect yourself from 5G.
Oh, great.
I sent it to you. I was like, it's not Charlie XCX, but I don't know who it is, but she's a baddie. I wish I knew who that was right now.
It's not Iggy?
Don't. It's not funny.
Oh, okay. I'll leave it there.
Smother me.
$mother. Okay, absorption of the vaginal mucosa is highly absorbent, which means that any chemicals present in tampons can potentially be absorbed into the bloodstream. This raises concerns about the potential long-term health effects of repeated exposure to harmful substances. And it's not saying it, but the implication here is that lead and arsenic are harmful substances that those juices might soak up.
MIA. Our paper planes baddie. You know her.
I fly high.
Yeah. So she has now got a fashion collection that protects your noggin from 5G. Yep. Love it.
Cool. There has been a noted increase in ovarian cancer rates among younger women. While the causes are multifactorial, potential contributing factors include genetic predisposition, despite this not existing in prior generations, environmental exposures, like the one we're talking about actively right now, lifestyle factors, also technically the thing that we're talking about right now,
like really only one option,
and reproductive history, majority. Which, you know, in a way, this is also kind of same area we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Potential contributors include environmental toxins, including heavy metals, and endocrine disrupting chemicals, you know, like arsenic and lead.
Both coincidentally found.
But they're being at least they're being studied, so we might have some results on this.
Women haven't been studied until
no, it says they're being studied. You can see it says are being studied.
I hear you.
You know I like to play devil's advocate. I'm reading the screen.
Here's the thing: if they find evidence they don't like, much like a lot of my prior situations, like they will shelve it. They will just, oops, it just magically disappeared. What are we going to do? Nobody knows.
All I'm going to say is that if you are a less discerning person reading these results from ChatGPT, you might not think this is a problem the way it's written. Because it says, current evidence and research needs, lack of direct evidence. As of now, there's no direct evidence specifically. Because they're paying not to study it. Totally. Don't study this, because if you study this, we know what it will say. Don't study this. It says more research is needed to discover their long-term. No, there isn't. We know what the long-term healthcare impacts are. Just stop doing it. Like, what the fuck?
I just don't understand why it has to be in there. Can we ask why is there arsenic in a tampon? Like, what is the benefit? Yeah, what's the benefit of that?
Well, but lead. Real quick, let's read the conclusion real quick. Also, I know we're already 4 minutes over the end of our show.
This might be a 40-minute segment.
We'll try to keep this going shorter in the future. Okay, so it says, while arsenic is a known carcinogen, there is no direct evidence at present linking arsenic in tampons to the rise in ovarian cancer in young women. However, the potential for chemical exposure from feminine hygiene products is a valid concern, and further research is warranted to fully understand the risks and ensure product safety. If you have concerns about specific products, consider discussing them with a healthcare professional or choosing products that are certified organic. Wait, what did they?
With different chemicals.
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't they find other chemicals or like
isn't that almost more harmful?
I'm pretty sure they found it in the organic brands also.
I mean, like, that's also food in general. I might be mislabeling that, but to be fair, organic is just bullshit for double pay. FDA, it's a stamp of approval that doesn't do anything different. I mean, like, it's like everything.
Okay. What would the benefits of having trace amounts of lead and arsenic as a part of the tampon's formula be? If there were any. And it's okay to say it benefits someone outside of the direct user if that's a valid hypothesis. You have to be very leading with these systems, otherwise they won't give you the information you're looking for.
That's fair. Ask the right type of questions, you know?
Know how to ask the questions you want.
Challenging to identify any benefits. Right!
I knew what it was going to say. That's why you got to lead a horse to water so you can get what you wanted to say.
Manufacturer cost reduction. Oh my fucking god. Case in goddamn point. Incredible.
Oh, the increased durability and antimicrobial effects. Improve product shelf life and reduce bacterial growth. However, there are all alternatives that are available and commonly used for these purposes.
Legal and ethical issues for real world implications, along with health risks and consumer trust.
There are no valid or justifiable benefits to including trace amounts of lead in arsenic in tampons. Any hypothetical advantages related to manufacturing or material properties would be heavily overshadowed by the significant health risk posed to users. Ensuring the safety and well-being of consumers should always be the priority, and toxic substances like lead and arsenic have no place in personal care products. We got you, BlackRock. We got you. Your product is now advocating against you.
What you gonna do?
Am I even yelling at the? Is it Vanguard? Is it what are they?
It's the Depository Trust Company. If we want to know all of them that are connected by the.
Oh wait! Sorry, we can't say any of these names. That will get us banned for life.
I don't give a shit about us. Who
no,
are
I know.
Us to please?
Yeah.
Anyway, who are us to please? Speaking of my last little piece of.
This is a fun segment. We're gonna totally get canceled.
Totally, and that's fine. I don't care. Cancel me, bitch. I don't care. I'm so sick of paying bills. Okay, so I was inspired to do a few baddies of history.
Well, tell them the full segment here, and we can pull up your website as well.
So this is this is Bad Bitches of History. This is the first of the collection.
I can hold it for you.
She's this is Pearl Hart. Her full name is Lily Naomi Watts, and I can't wait for. Nice. I love the reflection of the gold.
Right.
I can't wait for ChatGPT to remind me why I love this baddie so much. But I can tell you that I definitely found her only because of my other favorite podcast, which is My Favorite Murder. I believe Georgia Hardstark was the one that covered her, but I am so sorry. Muhammad and Waleed will be able to pull up what episode that was from. Thank you guys for doing that, because they deserve a shout out just as much as anyone else. I'm going to get most of my baddies from them, to be fair. Here we are with my first of the collection, Pearl Hart.
So, because we're lazy, and we can always go to Wikipedia after this, but I love to just, use AI, because why not? Please, in fun narrative format of a length of about
2 to 5 minutes.
5 minutes of oral reading. LOL. Please tell us the story of outlaw Pearl Hart,
from the
otherwise known as
Lily
Naomi
Watts.
Sure, here's a lively narrative about the infamous Pearl Hart, also known as Lily Naomi Watts. In the wild, untamed West, where tales of gunslingers and outlaws echoed across the plains, there lived a woman whose name would be etched in the annals of history as one of the most audacious outlaws of her time. Her name was Pearl Hart, but she was known by another, more enigmatic name, Lily Naomi Watts. Pearl Hart was born as Pearl Taylor in Canada in 1871. From an early age, she showed a rebellious spirit that couldn't be tamed by conventional norms of society. She married a man named Frederick Hart, a gambler and an alcoholic. And the marriage...
Don't we all?
I'm not an alcoholic.
And not anymore. We aren't anymore.
It was never enough.
We're social drinkers now.
Yeah, well, I'd argue I was only ever a social drinker, but that did get me into problems, so.
Yeah, well, we have to learn.
Right. Yep. I'm just Cali sober now. So. Where'd we leave off? The gambler and an alcoholic,
Yeah.
and the marriage quickly fell apart. See, but we improved.
We're
it.
lasting, yeah.
I only gamble on businesses and meme coins. Smother me. Anyways, seeking a new start, Pearl adopted the alias Lily Naomi Watts and set off to carve her own destiny. The turn of the century saw Pearl drifting across the American frontier, moving from city to city, job to job, and always seeking a thrill. But it was in the dusty town of Globe, Arizona, where she would cement her legacy. The year was 1899, and the Old West was in its twilight years, but Pearl Hart was about to give it one last hurrah. Desperate for money and driven by a wild and tameable spirit, Pearl teamed up with a fellow drifter named Joe Boot. You think this is the basis of Joe Dirt? Or Joe?
How do I feel like I heard this on Actually Wine and Crime now?
This is probably a wine crime story, yeah.
It feels like it is. I think I'm pretty sure it is my favorite murder, but this is like some outlaw territory that I love myself in. The Bad Bitches of History was meant to be a rewriting of a bunch of like women that were done a disservice and overwritten by their male counterparts, very like tale as old as time. Pearl Hart was an inspiration of the outlaw spirit that I love so dearly behind all of these baddies. Is she the most emblematic example of being wronged right? We're all our own variation of it, really, truthfully. I want to say, though, she was 14 when she went on this excursion. Like,
which one? Joe Boot or the one before that?
So basically when she left on her own, she was 14 years old, because prior to this, she was like 9 years old. She's like one of like so many children. Had a pretty abusive like upbringing, so she basically became an adult real quick at the age of 14. Took off.
She stayed with her husband for 14 years, is what it sounds like, though.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, got married at the age of 14. Fucking wild. Wait. That's child.
No, never mind. Her last hurrah is when she's 28. So
yeah,
wild.
She lived a very like quick, long, hard life. Like, it's crazy listening to her story. Getting back to it.
Well, you know how the patriarchy runs everything, and you can only sell things to men, right? I asked Gemini a question in the meantime. Joe Dirt, Joe somebody, how many Joe blank movies are there? Because that's the way to ask a fun question. Sure. It says there are only 2 major movies with the format funny. And they both came out in, right? That's so weird. Okay, so now in 2024, we're proposing Joe Boot to tell the story of Pearl Hart.
I hear you.
I know. I'm not.
It makes me cry because of literally exactly what I just fucking went on my rant about how my name and women's names are always fucking overridden by some fucking plebe of a man.
I know,
named Joe Boot.
That's the dumb idea that I'm pitching live on the show that you can shoot down.
Yeah,
we don't have to actually do it. We're just putting it out there just as a cause for someone to explore Pearl Hart. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah. Continue. All right, we're at our
meeting
up with Joe Boot for the last hurrah.
Together they hatched a daring plan. They would rob a stagecoach. I hope they're wealthy. Whoever these people are, they're robbing. It's only one stagecoach. On May 30th, 1899, disguised in men's clothing and armed with a revolver, Pearl Hart and Joe Boot set their plan into motion. They ambushed a stagecoach traveling from Florence to Globe, Arizona. The passengers, stunned by the sight of a woman outlaw, were relieved of their valuables and cash. Pearl, ever the rogue with a heart, gave each passenger $1 to ensure they had enough to get by. They're
so kind,
so thoughtful.
That's a real Robin Hood, you know?
Yeah, don't worry. I'll make sure you have cab fare. Their audacious crime quickly made headlines, and the pair went on the run. But the wilderness of Arizona was unforgiving, and it wasn't long before they were caught. Pearl and Joe were taken to the courthouse in Florence, where Pearl's trial became a media sensation. She was an enigma, a woman who had defied societal expectations, embraced a life of crime with a flair that captivated the public's imagination. In court, Pearl delivered an impassioned plea, claiming she had turned to robbery out of desperation to care for her sick mother. Her words, coupled with her charm and defiance, won her some sympathy, but it wasn't enough to escape justice. She was sentenced to 5 years in Yuma Territorial Prison. Pearl's time in prison only added to her legend. She was the only woman incarcerated there, and her presence caused quite a stir. She was granted special privileges, including a private cell, and her notoriety only grew. Pearl Hart's life after prison remains shrouded in mystery. Some say she tried her hand at show business, capitalizing on her infamous past. Others believe she disappeared into obscurity, perhaps living under yet another alias. What remains certain is that Pearl Hart, or Lily Naomi Watts, left an indelible mark on the history of the American West. Her story is one of rebellion and adventure, a testament to a woman who refused to be confined by the expectations of her time. Pearl Hart's legacy as the last stagecoach robber of the Wild West endures, a reminder of an era where legends were born in the dust and grit of the frontier.
See, that's why I fell in love with this bad bitch.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
What a story.
No shit, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't even give you like her own quotation, which is why I fell in love with her in the first place, which I wrote all over the background of this. Which basically just says, I shall never submit to the law to be tried under the law that neither I nor my sex had any voice in making. So that is Pearl Hart.
Great story.
Truly, what a bad bitch. Ugh.
She will now be going down in the annals of history. Well, I mean, I think we are being a little bit more like her. We're starting as outlaws. Well,
aren't we all?
I saw that coming. I heard it.
It's been a fun segment.
Right? I mean, it was great to have ChatGPT write it.
This was yeah.
And then here, I asked it to write the description to go on the artwork, right? Because you will be able to collect the NFT. Not right now, but soon enough. You know, if you go to madisonjesseka.com, we are launching this as an NFT series. That's the point. But here's the description that you will soon see accompany it. Pearl Hart, a.k.a. Lily Naomi Watts, was an audacious outlaw of the Wild West. In 1899, she famously robbed an Arizona stagecoach only to be captured and imprisoned. Defying societal norms, her legacy as the last female stagecoach robber remains a captivating tale of rebellion and adventure.
I like the other one that they ended on it better.
We can mush them together.
We'll rework it. Yeah.
We'll mush them together.
They did a very good 85%. Thank you, ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm. That's all we ever need is, just to get it started, We'll
go from there. You gotta have good input, though.
Absolutely. Well, that might be it, because it sounds like we can only ever get through maybe one topic. Maybe we can get through more. Who knows?
There's a lot of little topics within that large topic, I suppose. So that's our kind of justification for it.
Yeah, I mean, we covered a lot.
That's how our brain works.
Mm-hmm. It was political. It was economic.
It was
divisive. It was informative. And yeah, well,
until the next one.
Yeah. Like, subscribe for more. It's been your weekly Mojo with Madison Jesseka here on the Playhouse. I should hit the end stream button.